Ashutosh and Professor Mehrotra, how do you see Indian society and politics change over the next 5 years? Ashutosh first.
Stand up? Yeah. See, first of all, I don't believe into the theory of inevitability that Modi is coming. So as a journalist, I can't predict what is going to happen. But yes, if he's coming, if he's coming, there is a greater danger in the sense, and I've always said it, that the country is moving towards a historical accident. And it does happen. In history, it has happened many, many times. Because at least last few days, I've been reading this Integral Humanism of Deen Dayal Upadhyay. 1965, the 3rd chapter. And if anybody reads that, one is really will thinking that whether this democracy has any place in RSS thinking. I don't think so, because he theorizes and reaches to the conclusion that India should be a Dharmaraj. Dharmaraj means what? He explains that. And he said Dharmaraj means the Dharma should be supreme. The majority should not be supreme. The parliament should not be supreme. The people should not be supreme. So Dharma should be supreme. If somebody is on the side of the Dharma, even if he's in minority, his voice should be supreme. Now, if that is the interpretation of, that is where the thinking of RSS is going, then I really dread. And I could find a parallel with when I gaze in the future and this establishment continues with the kind of ideology they have, then what I think is the nearest possible political model is Iran. Because according to that, somebody has to sit and decide what is Dharma. Whether this government is run according to Dharma, whether the parliament is running according to Dharma, whether this government is running according to Dharma, what is that? How will you decide that? So in that sense, it's like Iran. There is a council of clerics who decide whether the government is run according to the Sharia. Are we moving in that direction? And why I'm saying so? For the simple reason, because unfortunately or fortunately, ideology, any kind of ideology, and I have done a lot of research on ideologies, any kind of ideology, it has inherent quality to create a delusional society where the humanites are fighting invisible phantoms. And they always believe that they are part of the nation building process. They are doing something which is greatest ever, so the sense of achievement is high. And one point I would like to say, and I completely disagree with Pawanji, when he makes a distinction between Bajrang Dal and Narendra Modi and RSS. Frankly speaking, there is one organization that is called RSS. It's like a one big umbrella under which in the different silos. Everybody has been given a different task, different roles.
Okay.
Bajrang Dal has never been disowned by the RSS. So the fact of the matter is, people who believe about Hindutva, do they really know Hindutva?
Yeah, Raghav Avasthi,
So
very quick.
Ashutosh talks about Hindutva, right? As if all of us here are illiterate or we've not read anything. I'm not sure if he has read Savarkar or Hindutva.
I'm sorry, Rahul. Is it this organization to make a personal comment about
no,
me?
I'm talking
I want to
about
know this.
myself.
No, I want to know this.
What does Savarkar
No,
say?
I
Have
want
you
to
read
know this.
Savarkar's
Rahul,
Constitution of Hindu Rashtra?
Rahul, is this,
Have you read Savarkar's
make your
Constitution?
point.
is this,
Yeah, I'm making my point.
no,
Have you read
are you
the
allowing me to make a personal comment on me?
Don't make a personal
No,
comment.
I'm not
I
making any
protest.
personal comment.
I protest.
Has he read
I
Savarkar's
protest.
Constitution of Hindu
Okay,
Rashtra?
he's
Savarkar's
thrown up some ideas, respond to those ideas.
Savarkar's Constitution of Hindu Rashtra is very clear. It says in a Hindu Rashtra there will be individual rights. And this conception of Hindu Rashtra comes from the 1848 revolutions of Europe, where nationalism was supposed to be of a constructive variety, where it basically said that if you have a spiritual and ancestral attachment to a piece of land, anybody who owes that allegiance is a nationalist. So that's the problem. Ashutosh ji really needs to read theory. He needs to read Savarkar so that he can understand what Hindutva is. Hindutva has always had a reformist
This will
streak.
become a debate, okay? And we need to
Hindutva
get to the other room.
always had a reformist streak, because had there not been for this reformist streak, Hindutva would have never started winning elections.
Rahul.
In India, the forward caste population is less than 20%. So just even if you get 70 or 80% of their support out of that 20%, that is only 16%.
Okay.
Modi polled 45% of the vote, including the allies last time, which is almost equal to what Indira Gandhi and Jawaharlal Nehru polled in their salad days. So this is something that the old elite, the old guard cannot comprehend. They cannot tolerate this.
Okay, we've spoken a lot about politics. I want to spend a moment on foreign affairs and ask Ambassador Nupama Rao to talk about how India's position on the global head table potentially changes. The equations we've been able to build with the Gulf Arab states, continuing our equation and strategic ties with the United States, walking a gentle trapeze between Russia and Ukraine. How do you see things change? What's your crystal ball telling you?
There's always a continuum in foreign policy. You know, whatever you may say, it's not a question of reinvention. Perhaps there are attempts to provide it with a much higher profile image, which I think is quite understandable given our growing strengths and our recognized potential across the global stage. But, you know, our foreign minister said just last year, and I quote, "Our opinions count, our views matter, and have actually today the ability to shape the big issues of our time." So in the next 5 years, I'd like to see that ability being played out, being realized, the ability to shape the big issues of our time. And I think that day, that Amrit Kal, we have to wait for. And I'd also like to add, and I think we need to ask ourselves this searching question, are we part of the conversation when we are not in the global room? You know, face to our faces, we are showered with encomiums, hosannas being sung, but when we are not in the room, are we part of the conversation? And then when we say this is not a time for war and a time for peace, what are the opportunities we can create for peace? I think there has to be less risk aversion on our part as far as that is concerned. Coming to China. Now, the situation on the line of actual control, I don't believe miracles are going to happen. There is a certain stasis in the relationship with China today. It's fraught with tension, albeit stable, more or less stable. And I think the government has been right in treating this issue with circumspection and caution, which is one of the lessons we've learned from history. And I'm glad we have done so. Will a reduction in tensions happen with China? It takes two to tango. I don't think we can attribute all the responsibility on one side. I mean, can't expect India to take all the steps. But I believe that we as a country need to strategically think through this relationship.
Usually, at a conversation or in a debate, you get to hear a couple of points of view, such a wide range of perspectives about what's going right, what's going wrong. We were able to track that all here at the gazing table. So thank you for joining us and thank you for being here. Thank you. Thank you.